Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our Friday live question and answer class, where we talk about topics for American English pronunciation and American accent. You can ask me your questions at any time by typing in the chat, and I'll answer them for you live. People often ask me about words that they're struggling with or accent patterns, questions about difficult sounds. We can handle anything here that will help you improve your personal and professional communication in American English. Thanks so much to those of you who've subscribed to the channel and also those of you who've joined as members. I'm really excited to have this membership option, and I wanted to let you know that we'll be having our first members-only live question and answer on Sunday in 2 days. And in that class will be similar to this class. I'll be sharing a little bit of information and teaching on a topic, but spending most of the time answering your questions. So if you haven't yet checked out membership, you might want to do that. All members, basic online course or executive members can access those free live classes, and it's just a smaller group setting and personalized for what you would like to talk about. Of course, you can ask me your questions today as well, and there's no obligation to become a member, but thank you to those of you who have. I'm really trying to reach out and provide good training options to more people at an affordable price. And also along those lines, another new announcement. Many of you know that I do teach people, do training that's one-on-one, customized and individualized, and now I'm expanding that to doing groups of 4. So you don't have to have a group. You can join a group set up by me of 4 people. And these classes are 6-week trainings customized to the group of 4's needs. So if you're enjoying what you see here on the channel and you like my answers to your questions, you like our Word of the Day series, but you want to go a little bit further and more in depth and get a little bit of personal feedback for you, go to speechmodification.com and check out the group class training option. Those will be starting in September, and I'll host as many group classes as necessary to keep those really small. By only having 4 people, it'll be a lot of time where I can hear how you sound, give you feedback, and help you to prioritize what to work on. Those won't be on YouTube, they'll be on Google Meets. So anyway, you can check those out on speechmodification.com. I see we have a lot of questions, so I'll get started with your questions now. And thank you so much for listening to the news for our channel and for speech modification. Okay, so welcome. Hi, everybody. We have a request or a question about the words casual and casualties. This is great, good question. So when we look at the word casual, we have been talking about the different sounds that letter S can make, right? Oftentimes it'll say the S sound or the Z sound, Z, sometimes the SH, sh, and in this word it makes the voiced SH sound, which sounds like zh. So the symbol for that is this. I do have a video coming out about the words version, helping you to pronounce the word version, and we'll be talking about that sound. And we also talked about that in our Word of the Day video about the word measure. So this same sound is in the word casual, and we have the a vowel, that's the black cat vowel, first syllable stress, so cash, and then we have caju. We basically have, I guess I'll do the IPA first, the y sound. So I would say it sounds like casual. I'm mixing up where I'm putting IPA and where I'm putting the sounds. So the schwa and the dark L. Casual. So there's kind of some hidden sounds in here. This is one of the letter U's that doesn't just say oo, it says U. We see that symbol with a glide there. And then the S sound is probably what's problematic or maybe problematic for you. So if you have trouble saying the zh sound, what you can do is say the SH sound, shh, then turn your voice on, shh, zh, casual. So it's kind of like cash, but with voicing here. And then for casualties, it does have, you can say it as casualties, casual, but because it has extra syllables, this U gets pretty reduced, and it ends up sounding more like casual. So the Y is there, but it goes almost right to the O. We kind of lose this oo, casual, and casual. We lose that oo sound, and it goes right to jol, casual. And then we have T's, casualties. I'll write that this way. We say that T sound in casualties. Casualties. I guess you could use it as a flap as well. Either casualties. I think I usually say it with the T because it comes after that L, casualties. And this S sound says Z because it comes after a vowel. Okay, so casual and casualties. Rather than casualties, 4 syllables, more like 3, casualties. That's an example of how words can change and get reduced when we add additional syllables, and vowel sounds can change as well. Thank you. That was a great suggestion. We have a question about the T sound that follows N and precedes a vowel in rapid speech, as in, I don't understand, I can't imagine. Clearly not a true T. Yes. So one thing I'll suggest to you is that I have a video talking about the differences between can and can't. And one of the things that can't and don't actually really do in connected speech is that we don't really say that T sound. So when I said don't really, what I did was a stopped T, where I don't leave it off entirely. I don't really. You can hear how that sounds different. Don't really. That would be holding the N. Don't really. I make a stop with my tongue, and behind my tongue, rapidly stop the air to mark that T. Don't, can't. When I say I can't understand, I can't understand, can't understand, can't. I think I do the same thing, even if the next word is a vowel. Don't eat that, don't eat that. I think pretty much with can't and don't in most situations, unless I'm saying it by itself, then I might say can't and don't with a T. Otherwise, I'm using that stopped T. I would say the video I was referring to that talks about can versus can't is very helpful in understanding how to use both of those and how Americans use them, because what you're hearing is true. We aren't really putting that T on there, but I don't want to leave it off entirely or it'll sound strange. Great question. Thank you. Okay. Andrew would like to know about the word stomach. This is a great example of how spelling is not very helpful for this word, because the letters in the spelled word don't really match the sounds. So first of all, we have first syllable stress. So the stum part is long, and it has vowel schwa, which sounds like So I'm going to rewrite that as a U-M, stum. I think that helps people hear and understand the vowel schwa sound. The symbol for it in the dictionary would look like that. And then we have stomach. This ACH doesn't really do anything A-like. It's more of an I sound, stomach, and then just a K sound. So we have the K sound for the CH at the end of the word, stomach. Once you can say stomach by itself, try talking about my stomach hurts, I can't stomach it. Trying to use it in some short phrases will help you with that. Hopefully that's clear. Thank you for that request. We have a question about if it's correct to pronounce words like broken or taken with an I sound instead of a schwa. So what he's or she's referring to is the end syllable of broken and taken. In the dictionary, you might see that written like broken or taken. And I definitely think that I will more likely say them as broken or taken. The important thing for unstressed syllables at the end of the word, middle of the word, beginning of the word, in the dictionary, if you see one or the other, sometimes these are a little bit interchangeable. The important thing is to say it really lightly, broken, taken, that there's not much vowel there at the end and that it's very reduced. So either a reduced I or a reduced schwa. These two vowels are the ones most commonly found in the unstressed syllables that have a reduced vowel. And so they're a little bit interchangeable. And I would say even When I've looked in different dictionaries, sometimes I'll see something marked as a schwa in one or as an I in the other. And sometimes I have a strong opinion about one or the other needs to be used, but not so much in broken and taken. I think you can use either, as long as it's short and reduced. Great question. We have a question about the word deaths, pronouncing the S. Yes, so that does have an S sound. Anything that ends in THS, what I want to try to do is make my TH sound and then pull back for the S. So for example, paths, deaths. It is a challenging combination because the TH my tongue needs to be between my teeth and then it needs to pull back. And so you may find that hard. So working on a word like death by itself first, and then adding the S will help you. Death, deaths. Dana would like to know about piranha, the fish, and Gouda, a type of cheese. Okay, so piranha sounds like, let me get the spelling from you first. Piranha sounds like per with a vowel so I'll rewrite that as an ER, piran, second syllable stress. This is the on vowel, like an AH, or like the word on. And then finally a schwa, piranha. With, like I said, second syllable stress, short, long, short, piranha. And Gouda, we Americans will say that as the clear oo vowel and a schwa, Gouda. Yeah, my daughter really likes Gouda. Great questions, thank you. We have a request for the word flooded. Flooded. Yeah, that is kind of difficult, isn't it? Flooded. So this is an example of a word with two O's that doesn't say the oo sound. Other words like that, good, would, stood, fla. Actually, no, incorrect. Sorry. The letters OO will usually say oo or like school or good. And in flooded or blood and flood are two examples where it actually says the vowel, the schwa vowel. So it looks like this in the dictionary, flooded. And here's an example of what we were just talking about, where that unstressed second syllable is going to have the I sound. People will also sometimes do that with a bit of a schwa sound, in which case you'd have a stressed schwa and an unstressed schwa. I think in this case, for words ending in ED, in DED or TED, we typically do the did, the I vowel. So trying flood and then flooded. Yeah, definitely a challenging one. Confusing because of spelling as well. All right, and we have a request for, sorry, I'm a little behind. Thank you for waiting patiently for me to answer your question. And yes, you are correct. We have one of our members is letting us know flooded has the id sound at the end. We have a request for held and hold and hard. Okay, yeah, good. So held, hold, hard. Let's look at the differences here. For held, we have the red tent vowel. Sounds like L, hell. So trying just doing hell like the first part of hello, and then adding your D, held. And then for hold. For held, I basically can go right from the L, from the E to the L, L from the S sound. But for hold, because I have a rounded vowel, I'm going to have a little bit more of a glide between the O and the schwa before the L. So hold is similar to old, which we talked about in a recent Word of the Day video, where I kind of have to add this wool. I have a dark L that has a schwa before it. So going quickly, hold. Going slowly, hold. That might help you to sequence those sounds. This one is, I'm guessing, probably more challenging for you than held. Then when we have hard, I have the same thing where I have kind of an ah and then my So if I went really slowly, ard. When I go quickly, hard, I need to sequence very quickly between that ah and the So here, watch out for that the r doesn't want to drop out. You might have something that ends up an error that sounds more like had, where you do more of a schwa there. And that's more of a British English or another dialect of English that doesn't do the R. In American English, anytime you see the letter R, you're pretty much going to do an or a r sound. So held, hold, hard. Hard combination of words. When we have, for some people, sometimes the LD or the OLD or the ARD, those combinations are extra difficult. Breaking it down and figuring out which part is hard for you. It may be that separately you can say things like har and car, but as soon as you have to add the D, it's difficult. Or the O is okay, but the old and hold. Also, if you find it hard to say hold, practice it, break it down, then also look for other words that are similar, like cold or mold or sold. You're going to have the same patterns and struggles on words that have the same combinations of sounds. So you want to take advantage of working on one to expand that to your other words as well. Great suggestions. Thank you. Okay, so we have the requests for currently, important, comfortable, and continent. Great suggestions. So currently, let's look at that first. Currently, this is spelled with UR, but it has the ER sound. So I'm going to write that like KER because we do have some words spelled that way. And so I want my tight back and then I'm going to start with my So starting with cur, current. My ENT kind of has, again, that schwa or that sound. Currently. And we often, for NT words in American English, will leave that T out, currently, or we do the stopped T. So I don't want currently. I don't want to hold my N very long. I'm going to go right from my N to my stop T, currently. And I release into my L, and my Y says E, currently. So practicing each part separately, currently, and speeding up as you go, you may find helpful. Also has first syllable stress, and the currently are short and light. Next word was important, and this is a very challenging word. I'm going to suggest after the broadcast, I'll give you a link to a video I made about how to pronounce important. There's a couple of different ways Americans do that. And again, there's a theme here between currently and important that we use that stopped T and that NT combination. So really quickly, import, I kind of leave that T off. I just move my tongue up to stop it. Ort. And then even more difficult, nt. I don't have much of a vowel there, important. I just go right into the NT stopped T as well. So for more details on that, check out my video for important, and it breaks it down in more detail for you and tells you a couple of different ways to practice it and different ways to pronounce it. Also comfortable, I have a video for that as well. So this is great. The questions that you have are questions that many people have, and the more I hear about what's difficult for people, the more I can create videos to help you with that, both in my word of the day, and also I make more detailed videos that are not me live talking about it, but going through and giving you visuals to support that. So for comfortable, that one is also very difficult because there's two correct ways to say it in American English, and one matches the spelling a little better, and the other is just actually how we say it that doesn't match. So I'll make a note that both comfortable and important, I'll give you the more detailed videos for those. And then for your last word, continent. So when I just said that by itself, I said the T sounds, continent. But when I'm talking, if I was saying, the South American continent, I do kind of the same thing where I'm going to do an ah vowel, continent. I basically leave that T, I out. I make a stop T there. So Cant, I go up and I make a T placement with my tongue, Cant. And then I do N, very, very small vowel, right to another N, continent, nunt. Kind of another schwa there, I would say, an I or a schwa. And then with my NT, stop T sound. So pattern across your words that it's this medial stop T that you probably find challenging. I also have a lesson I think that you would like on my website. So let me show you that. Going to speechmodification.com on the free practice, you can look up in the free practice site, you can use our that's something from last week, our vowels. You can use the search box to find what you're looking for. Also, for all of you, when you leave a comment or question, I will often send you or put in my response to your comment the direct link to information for these lessons. And certainly for my members, as soon as you have a question or request, I'm going to direct you to where you can find that information. So I'm going to put in American T and show you the lesson that shows the different things that T will do. And I'm going to say that, sorry, it's taking me a minute to find it. So how Americans say the T sound in the beginning, middle, and ends of words. This goes into a lot of details about the stopped T. It has a list of what happens with NT, what happens with in the middle and the ends of words. So together with the links for comfortable and important, I'll include those in the description or in the comments of this video after class. Thank you so much. Those are great requests and challenging words. But whenever I see a pattern across the questions that you have, it's often that there's a similar thing happening in all of those words that's challenging to pronounce and difficult, in this case, to match exactly how Americans are saying the words versus British English, other dialects of English. You're going to hear them saying those T sounds rather than using the stopped T or leaving it out because of the NT. Okay, great questions. Thank you. Question about how to connect the end of the word very with the beginning of a word like religion. So we're probably not going to say those words in sequence because we would use very religious, but the very right, very real. I'm just going to go right from the ear, and I may or may not link them. If I'm saying it's he's very religious, it's not fully linked. I'm just basically doing an E and then a R at the R sound at the start. We have a comment. Our viewer is saying that when they say think, it sounds like sink. What's the solution? You basically just have a pattern where your tongue is too far back. So what you need to practice is putting your tongue, resting it between your teeth in a word like think. And what you'll find is that if you try to say think, you may not be able to put that TH sound in the word. It might always come out like sink. So what you want to try to do is do the TH sound by itself. Look in the mirror. See, can you see the tip of your tongue? If you can't see it, your tongue is too far back. If your teeth are closed. So trying just doing and then trying the TH sound with a vowel sound, like maybe tha, thu. See if you can keep your tongue there. Then you can try thi, thin, thing, think. Slowly putting it on the word, but you have to be able to make that TH sound by itself with the tongue in the correct position. Use my American TH playlist to help you. I walk you through all of those steps and give you a lot of other additional techniques to help you with that TH sound. Great question. Yes, we have a request to continue doing these videos. I plan to continue these classes every Friday, as well as adding some additional free live classes for members only as well. So yes, that's a good suggestion. Andrew wants to know about the word vanilla. Whether there are two ways to pronounce it and what's correct. Let's see, I can't think of a second way. I say it as vanilla, vanilla, with a schwa for that first sound. It has second syllable stress. So starting it with a stressed second syllable, nil, that has the I vowel. Then my VA says va, vowel schwa, vanil, and then another at the end. So short, long, short, vanilla, vanilla. And we have a question. Oh, I'm kind of getting a little bit out of order. The ED ending to three groups pronounced id, T, and D. Yes, okay, so great question. So I have a members video coming up for past tense words. And what it talks about is that when I add ed to make something past tense, if I'm adding that to a word that ends with a voiceless sound like t, p, k, sh, for example, act, not a T, that's a different one. If I add it to, like, for example, sh, wash, then my ed is going to say T, washed. If I add it to a voiced sound, like a vowel or a voiced consonant, like name, and then named, it only says D. And then if I add it to a T or a D, like want or need, then it says id, wanted, needed. That's a very helpful rule to understand for making things past tense. Great. We have a question about the word pour, and I think you're referring to a previous question, so maybe you can clarify that a little bit. That maybe you're going back to our discussion of the two O's, pour. So is another example of two O's saying something else. Some words say or. Yeah, so pour, in that word, we have the or, gliding from O to that diphthong for pour. Question about hard and heart. So for both of those, it's just like when we were talking about hard. That one has ard with a voiced D, and heart has a slightly shorter R and a voiceless T sound. And for intrusive R, so that refers to diphthongs like or and ear and ire. And basically what I recommend is first being able to get your sound, and then working on, once the is solid, working on ear, air, ire, etc. It's also important to know which sound you're supposed to be saying, because we spell these in a lot of different ways. So for example, EAR can say air, like in bear. It can say ear, like in ear. It can say maybe other things. You can't always count on the letters to tell you what the sounds are. So first of all, knowing which R-controlled vowel you're trying to do, and then building up skills from there. You can find a lot of resources for that on my 6-week class, my online course, as well as my R playlist here on YouTube. Great. We have a request for the word constituent, appropriate for the time coming up that we are thinking about elections and constituents in elections. So we have second syllable stress in this, constituent, which means that the C-O-N in this word is going to have vowel schwa and sound like constitu. This T is going to sound a little bit more like a CH. So thinking about maybe the word stitch, like a needle and thread stitching, constitch, then you're having your U says, your letter U says you in this word, uant. And then not much vowel here, a little bit of a schwa maybe, and an NT. Constituent. Another request, how to quickly say has this. There's an example of when I go slowly, I'm going to have vowel a, like has this. When I go quickly, it might sound a little more like has this. That vowel might get slightly reduced and slightly closed. Probably what you're finding challenging here is going from the z to the v based on your earlier question, has this. That's just going to take motor practice, going from S, from the Z to the TH and back and forth, making sure that the tongue gets between the teeth for the TH. Great. We have a couple more questions. So request for the word debris. I guess it doesn't need a capital D, but anyway, so this has second syllable stress. We don't pronounce the letter S, and we use a tense E vowel here. And my DE says duh, light and short. Debris. The word sludge has our j sound. So unlike our j sound in our earlier word casual, in this word we have j, which sounds like we spell it as letter J at the start of words, and we have vowel schwa here. So trying sludge, j. Make sure you push out that j sound and it doesn't continue. You want to avoid sludge, but go for sludge, j. You also want to avoid having it sound like sludge. That would be your voice off. Hold your vowel a little longer and make sure your voice is on at the end. Sludge. Then another word, enormous. In this word, we have second syllable stress. There's our controlled vowel. We have an I sound for that first syllable, light and unstressed, enor, and then another schwa, another sound, enormous. Or you could hear that the first time I said it with more of a schwa. There's another example of at the beginning and ends of words. You may make sometimes your unstressed reduced vowel is going to sound like a schwa, and sometimes like an I, enormous. Usually when we spell it with letter E, we want to go for more of an I sound, like enormous or between, because, etc. Great. Dana has a follow-up question. The stress pattern for anchovy, first syllable stress, long, short, anchovy, ba, ba, ba. There was a question or comment about have in dictionary by end F. Not sure what you mean by that, so maybe you can clarify. So great to see all these wonderful questions today. I'll take the last couple and then we'll wrap up for today. We'll be back again next week on Friday with our question and answer class, and also a members only class on Sunday. So if you want to check out membership, on the channel page, click on the join button and you can see the perks for members, and you'll get notified about Sunday's class. The question we have here is what is correct for sound, and they're asking about if it's or in the ow. So the diphthong there, ow, most dictionaries will write that with these symbols. The difference between these two is this is more central. So like this is the Spanish and this is the American this one's maybe a little more forward. I'm not very good at making this one because I don't speak Spanish as a native speaker. And so these two in my ear sound very similar to one another. When you're saying, I just said sound, I think it's written this way, even though I think it kind of sounds like more tense. These are more central vowels. So the important thing is getting the sounds, the ow, ow, and I don't think you're going to be able to really hear a difference between these two for that sound. I do have videos for the different vowel sounds, and what you might want to do is check out my video for the diphthong ow to see about other words and to be able to hear and make sure that you're pronouncing that one correctly. Thank you for that question and for all of the great questions today. And thank you for being a part of the channel and part of the class. If you're watching this later on as a replay, you can ask your questions in the comments. I do go back to all of the comments on my videos to answer questions, send you links and share resources so that you can find information and answers to your questions. We'll be back again tomorrow with our Word of the Day class and live on Sunday with our Sunday Word of the Day, as well as our members only question and answer class. So I hope you'll consider joining for those, and I hope you'll be back again next week for Friday's class. Thanks so much for all of the wonderful questions, all of the support you guys have been giving lately. It's been great having so much support for the channel and so many wonderful questions and suggestions. It really helps me improve my content for you, my viewers, and I thank you for that. I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com. Remember, if you want to sound American, you can do it. speechmodification.com. Bye, guys. Thank you. See you tomorrow.